$800 million dollars to hit a baseball? That's one contract we won't forget anytime soon. Jedediah Collins here with the Money Vehicle Movement podcast, where we're trying to make financial literacy more current and possibly even a little cooler. On December 8th, Juan Soto, star baseball player and outfielder for the New York Yankees, signed what is believed to be the biggest contract in history with the crosstown rivals New York Mets. It's a 15-year deal worth $765 million. And by the end of it, it could be up to $805 million when all is said and done. There's no way around it. This is an absolutely massive deal to hit a tiny flying objects. It even eclipses last year's 10-year, $700 million contract signed by Shohei Ohtani with the Los Angeles Dodgers, which after a World Series turned out to be a very good investment, and dwarfs the 14-year, $340 million contract signed by Fernando Tatis Jr., and the San Diego Padres a few years ago. It's bigger than any contract in the NBA, NFL, NHL, or MLS. It's absolutely a mammoth deal. And with all of that money, we're going to talk a little bit about the taxes Soto will pay. Remember, Juan is still a W-2 employee of the New York Mets. He doesn't own them yet. He doesn't do anything. And with that, he is not the business owner. Our tax code in the United States has a lot of benefits for business owners where they can reduce their tax liability by writing off expenses. However, as an employee, which Juan remains, you miss out on many of those benefits. To make it simple, let's assume that Soto's contract pays him evenly across the duration of the term, 15 years, which would be about $51 million per year. And let's also assume that he didn't take deductions or use methods to try to reduce his tax bill. This would put Juan in the top marginal federal tax rate, which is the next dollar he makes, marginal, of 37%. So each year, Soto would owe the federal government almost $19 million in taxes because anything above $600,000 will fall into that 37%. This can also change because over those 15 years, we are sure to see some tax brackets and tax laws change and probably have an increase in our taxes because we have to continue to fund our federal government. And let's not forget, the states have an income tax too. Soto, assuming he's going to live in New York playing for the Mets, would also be subject to state income taxes, of which in New York, the top bracket is 10.9, averaged out to 11% to just live in New York. So that would be $5.5 million if he played all his games in New York. But since he will play in states without state income, teams like the Seattle Mariners or Miami Marlins, he will avoid some of that state income tax and have lower rates in other states than New York and California's 10%. So on average, let's assume he's going to pay about $4 million a year in state income taxes. That's known as the jock tax, created by the Lakers vs. Bulls championship back in 1991 when California got upset that MJ stole the Lakers title. So if we're combining the state and federal income taxes, Soto could owe just about $23 million in taxes, almost half of his annual salary each year. Again, we're talking about an absurd amount of money here, and no one feels bad for Juan, but it's probably fair to see that his financial team will have a lot of work to do. He's going to have to avoid or reduce some of this tax liability. He'll save, he'll spend, and he'll invest, and maybe he'll fund a company, maybe he'll even start a charity or a nonprofit, amongst many other things he can do with just under $800 million. This calls out the need for every professional athlete to have what we call the A team. That A team is made up of their agent, advisor, accountant, attorney, and advocate. His army of accountants will help him figure all of this out, and it's likely that he won't pay that $23 million each year in taxes, but he will be able to reduce and legally avoid some of those. We bring it up to give you an idea of how even pro athletes making millions of bajillions of dollars can break the golden rule if they build their plan with their gross, what they make, and not their net, what they take. For you and I, maybe who are making as little as $10 or $15 per hour, not Soto money, but we are still going to have to do our calculations around our net earnings and not our gross earnings. You need to figure out how it all goes into your plan. And once again, look at what you take, your net, not what you make, your gross. Hopefully, you start to take some deductions and build your tax strategy too to mitigate and reduce your tax liability. But for now, worry about your paycheck, not Juan Soto's paycheck. Keep driving your money vehicle, and we will see you at the next stop.